Greetings, Warlords. Rodge here. Welcome to Saga Thursday, the show all about the skirmish miniatures game from Studio Tomahawk. Today we are joined by DJ. DJ, how's it going?
It's going good, Rodge. How are you?
Good. Also known as Elderman Andrews, the Discord. Chiming in there. Today we're going to be talking about Adepticon 2026, but yeah, we're going to have a quite a big discussion here about different things going on with that. And there's been some changes for the upcoming year. Pretty exciting. And you've kind of, I don't know, are you the leader? I'm coming out with the hard questions here. Are you the boss of Saga at Adepticon?
I wouldn't say I'm the boss. I would say that I'm reaching out to the Adepticon staff and then doing a lot of the outreach and then coordination.
Okay.
We really are, I would say, more of a, you could call us an oligarchy, per se.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, so somebody needs to be a liaison type person and just kind of wrangle everybody up, make sure everything is running on time, even if they're not coming up with everything or actually running the events themselves. So, well, we will talk about a little bit more about that, but so I just kind of want to talk about kind of the past of Saga at Adepticon. So I've been associated with it for a few years now, even though I was kind of part of a team, but I thought I would kind of go back and talk about some of the prior helpers and kind of how things changed. Now, I wasn't really in on the beginning of it. That actually, oddly enough, it didn't start with Eric Hagen either, who kind of was really the driving force for many of the years. It was actually a guy named Aaron, who he lives in Wisconsin. I'm actually the closest Saga player to him by chance. So he kickstarted Saga at Adepticon, and he's like 45 minutes up the road from me. We've played a few games over the years. He's kind of a busy guy with kids, so I don't see him very often. But I think I did a battle report with him that there's a Battle of the Gardens. It was against Aaron, and then I did if people go back, he's a really good painter, and I did a Eastern Princes, just kind of like warband showcase. And this is pretty old. This is like version 1, I think maybe version 2 had just come out, and so he started it, and then Eric Hagen took over. And Hagen's background is Warhammer. He was involved with many tournaments and stuff. He brought in John Stentz and Paul Wagner, and those guys kind of applied their Warhammer know-how and previous experience to Saga. And Hagen's the one who built all the terrain back then. We can all picture, if you've seen it, the glorious ponds and marshes using the resin effects and the snow tables. And then I swear there was some castle walls. They did some kind of like cross the river type scenarios. Imagining that, but
I think they did.
When did you? What was your first Adepticon Saga year? Do you remember?
The first year we came back from COVID. So was that 22, 23?
Yeah, I think it was 2022 because everything happened like a month before a year, and then they skipped the following year as well. So those guys, they would. I know Hagen from running Warhammer tournaments back to like 2007 and 2008 and stuff. So those guys are know all about events and stuff like that. They were running. So it used to be a team tournament on Friday, 4 points per side, and they actually played on 4x8s. They put 2 3x4s together and made giant tables. So that was something that was different about.
Interesting. I'll put that in the toolkit.
Yeah. And then Saturday and Sunday was a two-day event. So at the time, first edition, and then later, when Vikings and Crusades, early second edition, it was just like a 5-game type event. So I remember playing in that. And then the last year, I think they did split it. Thinking about first edition, which was some point. I think that's right around when I got involved. So I think the last year of first edition was the year after that was the first year that I started helping them out. So they were doing Fridays, Saturday, Sunday. So I was like, well, you got, Thursday's open. You guys aren't doing anything. I have a show called Saga Thursday. I think it would be appropriate for me to run something on Thursday. And they agreed. And so they know me. I've run lots of tournaments from the Warhammer times. So they just kind of let me do. And I actually did like a narrative type thing using, I think it might have just been Invasions era war bands. Looking back, I think this might have been first edition still. This was 2019, so that's like a million years ago at this point for my memory.
Yeah.
But,
feels like it, especially when you have kids.
yeah. I remember it was kind of wild. Kind of just doing some crazy stuff on the fly. So if you beat somebody, they became your underling, and you were the winner. So you were like their liege lord. And then if you beat the second round, you would have another underling. And so whoever the guy that you beat the first round, if they won, then it was like a tier of like liege lords, like a feudal system, So whoever you beat, whoever they beat would be, so it was like a tier thing. And there was a big battle. I lined up all the tables, and there was like the center battle, and there was like the wings, and the wings were like smaller point games. And I just kind of like every 20 minutes, I would like kind of up it on the wings to make those battles end earlier. And then they would affect the middle battle, which is like where the top players were playing. And like every unit, I'm trying to think exactly what it was, but it was stuff like if a unit gets exhausted, like it's destroyed, I think. So that was just to make those battles end earlier on the wings. And ended up being, I don't know who won, but Monty was involved with it, and Andy Lyon, and then I can't remember, maybe John Silver Fox was involved. But then, if your team won on the wings, then the next battle in, you got a bonus, and then the next battle in got a bonus. So that's pretty wild. And then that year, so people talk about the sportsmanship scoring and paint scoring and stuff like that. So that actually, certain events, people like that or they don't. So when Saga first started there, they did not include either of those.
Okay.
And they were added later in 2018, 2019, because they thought that there was like a rude guy who kept like showing up. And like,
one.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like. So I never met this guy or seen him, but I've heard stories. So they needed some kind of legal framework to make him not be a jerk. And then they thought the paint standards were like weren't as high as they used to be. People weren't putting in the effort to paint their armies. So they added the paint scoring elements and made it worth a few points in the event. And then people started putting in the effort again, and those display boards and stuff going wild.
Yeah. Marquee now.
Absolutely. And then so it was me, Hagen, John, and Paul for a couple years. And then Hagen kind of stepped down. It's the right time. Teenage kids and soccer tournaments and stuff. So that was his era of life. So John was kind of nominally in charge, but he wasn't super into Saga anymore. So I kind of help on the rules side and help them do the, what should we do? What scenarios should we pick? These, and I kind of carry forward the sports scoring and the paint scoring I kind of changed it a little bit, but I just kind of, that was their intent. So I was kind of carrying that forward. And then this last year, Paul and John stepped down and Scott was helping. And then I reached out to you because you had helped run a mega battle the prior year. So I'm interested in helping. And then Richard Grady had reached out to me, and he had run a tournament the prior year as well, and said if he really wanted to see Age of Magic represented again, and he would run the tournament. And at this point, I have to say, give a moment to honor Richard. Unfortunately, Richard has passed away. He wasn't able to follow through on his commitment. His club stepped up and helped make sure the tournament was run to his standards. And it goes out to Richard and his family. As of this recording, this is pretty recent, so I wasn't sure if I was going to mention it or not, but here I am bringing it up. And Richard, you will be missed. Definitely was always there late at night, keeping the Saga good vibes going, and always there on the sportsmanship awards, doing fun stuff. He had his sheep themed army. I spent all this work on these chaos dwarves, trying my best, and he shows up with these sheep, and I've got no chance. It's done.
I remember those; they were great.
So Richard, you will be remembered. But at this point, I'd had my hand in the Adepticon Bowl for 5 or 6 years. And I felt, I'd run events and stuff, and you do it for a while, you're really excited. And then after a while, you kind of just repeating what you're doing. You are not as excited as you should be. So I think the number one thing for a tournament organizer is to be excited and to really want to do it. Now,
passion.
Yeah. So I wouldn't say that I was lacking the passion, but I was definitely stretched pretty thin. I run other events. I've got the YouTube, the Patreon. I'm doing nobody's thinking more about Saga than me, and I got a lot on my plate. So, my son is getting older as well. So in this last year, after the Adepticon was wrapped up, I reached out to you, to Scott, to Adam. So Scott DeRung, Adam Trunzo. So he's a good buddy. He said he was willing to help out, like at the event himself. And then I also reached out to Stephen Hollowell, who he runs the Kansas City Grand Nationals and other tournaments down there. And I knew that the Age of Magic wouldn't continue with Richard's club. So I knew it needed another person like in advance, and had already kind of pinged him to say, hey, next year we should bring back agents or something. Would you be interested in running any? He said he would. But I basically kind of I just turned it over to you guys. I said, I've had a good run. It'll be up to you guys to carry it forward. And I could certainly help out, offer advice if you wish, but I was kind of didn't want to be involved, just to kind of see what you guys would come up with, and just get a fresh take on everything, and kind of mix it up. It's been the same for a few years now, and it's time to turn it over to somebody new. I guess I don't know what was your first thought when you got? I think I sent an email. When you saw that email?
I mean, I was caught off guard. You hadn't mentioned any of that to me when I was there. But like when I started to think it, so I was like, oh no. When I started to think about it, I'm like, he's involved in a lot. And his, your son, I think is 7, 8, right?
Yeah. Just turned 9 a month ago. So.
Yep. So I get that. I got an 8-year-old daughter. She's getting ready to turn 9 in December. And I'm like, he's involved in a lot. He's probably looking to try and spend some more time with family and concentrate on a few other things. So I was like, makes sense. Like, I get it. So yeah, but initially I was surprised, but I understood as a parent myself.
Sure. Yeah. And I was I was kind of wobbling, kind of prior to that running it, like actually running everything that year. But I wasn't sure, maybe, excuse me, I'd be super energized. I kind of wanted to just kind of see how it went and then kind of stew afterwards a little bit, just kind of make sure.
Yeah.
That I still felt that way after running everything, and it wasn't like a panic type situation. So,
yeah.
But so I kind of left it up to you guys. So you guys have been involved previously with the tournaments and events. So I knew it was in good hands, and you kind of deserve to get a crack at it. There's different ways. Honest. Why are the people who are running the 40K? They're running the 40K because they were the first people to do it. So, you guys got first dibs and first crack at it, and you could have, it would have been fine to just, if none of you had decided to kind of pick up the ball, that was a possibility as well. So I'm thankful that you guys did decide to figure it out. And so you got a little presentation prepared all about Adepticon 2026. So I haven't been in the loop. I just kind of want to be surprised and along with everybody else, but I have been getting questions. So just yesterday, somebody asked, I'm still perceived as the person who knows everything about everything. And so I'm like, I don't know. I'm talking to him tomorrow. I'll figure it out. So I will bring up the first slide that you prepared. So up here, we got organizers, Adam Trunzo, Dan Neal, DJ Andrews, and Stephen Hollowell. So there's a new name there, and I don't see Scott there. So looks like he's stepping down as well. He did help out a couple years, or is he kind of a...
He volunteered to be a backup.
Okay, cool.
So,
yes, very important thing to have. So,
oh yeah, and he had mentioned potentially having scheduling conflicts, which I know with his job, it's kind of somewhat of a last second or weird scheduling that could occur, and so
he's a weekend. His job is a weekend working man's job, so there's all kinds of special hoops and stuff those folks got to jump through as well. So, totally makes sense. Glad to see that Dan is joined the party. I saw him helping you out with the demo stuff, and he had a really good attitude. I know he's got a good attitude on the Discord as well. So I actually suggested, if you need somebody to reach out to him, but you probably better than I do. So that's cool. So the four of you, are each of you going to run one of the tournaments then? Kind of like how it was done previously?
Yeah, so we each kind of like going into a little bit of the background and what has happened behind the scenes. So we all met virtually, right? Because we're all, Daniel and I think, are the closest, Ohio and Indiana.
Geographically, yeah.
Yeah.
Adam's up by me. Yeah.
Yep. Steven's all the way in KC. So, we've been meeting once a month since you sent that email out. So, well, man, what is that, since May, I think?
It was in May,
just talking things through. Early on, I think we all had an idea of who wanted to run what, and like a general idea. And we were very, I'd say, methodical about how we wanted to approach potential changes, potential avenues. That's why we did the surveys. We wanted to get some feedback from the community that wanted to or was interested in Adepticon or had some skin in the game with Adepticon, right? Called sunk cost fallacy, right? I've been going to Adepticon for years. I got to keep going, right?
Yeah.
We wanted to bring that in to help us, one, get a pulse, two, figure out what people are really yearning for, and three, okay, how does this resonate with us as the TOs, and can we make a good event for our Saga Warlords, right? So that's what helped drive everything. I would say to this point, which we're now in packet development. as some of you would
packet
be
time.
excited to hear. And those will be out, I would say, should be out when the event cart preview goes live. Maybe a little before. It depends.
Do you know when that is? Off the top.
It's usually in December, if I remember.
Okay. Yeah, they've really pushed it back. Used to be about this time of year, but the last couple of years been December. So cool. Yeah, packet development, always fun. So you guys, I'm remembering now. You did not one but two community surveys. So did you stuff like that? You know, it's like please give us your feedback. Did you get a good response on though? Any kind of nuggets gleaned about what people thought or what should happen? So I did take them. I can't remember what those questions were, but I gave you my 2 cents.
Hey, all feedback is appreciated, right? Because we read through all of it, and I would say a few of the resounding things that were very common, at least in the first survey, was more immersive terrain, which I think, I would think with Adepticon, right? Like you look at bolt action, and you look at fantasy battles, Sigmar. You could keep listening, right? I know our terrain rules are different than all of those, but we need to find, I'm a very creative person, and so I've gone through, you could call it a crusade, to figure out how to make conducive Saga terrain that is actually three-dimensionally appeasing. And so we're gonna have 3D terrain at this next year.
It's easy for people to say that, but okay, well, who's going to build it? Who's going to paint it? Who's going to store it? Who's going to haul it and lug it over to these are all like really serious things that I think people. So, I used the neoprene stuff, and it was a huge relief to Hagen when we switched to the neoprene, because it was a big hassle. That was all stored in a separate location. They'd have to rent rent a trailer and hook it up and have to haul it down, and kind of two men hauling one boards in one at a time, or with a little wagon and everything. So it was like a huge relief to Hagen and John and Paul when I said that I could step in with the neoprene stuff. And it's basically just a bin and throw the rolls on top. So it's not a problem to store. It costs money, but it didn't take time to build. So there's just pros and cons to everything. But that's cool. Cool to hear. I'll be happy to see what you got cooked up there. So you were kind of raising your hand there. Are you doing it all? So I've run many tournaments and have built a lot of terrain for tournaments, and I know what it feels like.
So Steven's bringing a lot of his 3D terrain as well this year.
Cool.
And so he had a lot from the Grand Nationals, as you remember. And then I am making minimum 6 additional full sets of 3D terrain. Granted, some people may be like, "Oh, 3D terrain, blah, like it's not conducive to moving." Like, trust me, okay? Trust me. I will not lead you astray.
I believe you. Well, I mean, the previous year, which there was toppers for everything.
Yeah.
But people just didn't want to use them, So I was really close to, docking points and stuff. Like if people weren't using the topper, because it does look like a lot better. It's passable if all the trees and all the little haystacks and stuff are out on the table. It looks much pleasing. It's more photogenic, and when people are walking by, they're more inclined to ask what this is. So, very cool to see the 3D terrain.
If people want to,
baby.
Yep. If people want to visualize it, think of what was done for I want to say either the German Nationals or the World Cup in Germany that Stronghold Terrain did, where it's all inset, magnetic, and So like when
Oh,
you take it
cool.
out, it looks like an eyesore, but yet it's
Ah,
not really
so
negatively affecting movement. Uh,
okay.
and and then like, okay, well, we're done with the terrain, we're done with the game. We put the pieces back in to the socket, and now when they pull it, they can just use that piece of terrain.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that sounds cool. I think I know in my head what that looks like. Everything Marco does is exquisite, so I know it'll be pleasing to the eye. So if you just copy that,
Yeah.
it should be good here. All right. Well, let's get into exactly what we can look forward to. I've got the schedule up here. We got Thursday and Friday.
Yep.
So what's going on? What are we going to do?
So we're only doing 2 days. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I don't want to freak anyone out here.
Whoa, my heart was
Call
pumping
me,
there.
yeah, no, call me a jokester. I'll pull some people's chains a little bit. No, so Thursday, we're going to run the Age of Ancients. So that's Saga Gods and Empires.
Like
All
that.
right.
I like that
Yep.
tagline there. That's cool.
Yep. Dan Neal will be running that tournament. Then we're going to have a narrative event that will be going on it'll be going on during the tournament. So if there's people outside, like new players, people that may not be, competitive at all and don't want to do a tournament, if someone has something that they really wanted to attend and they can't just do the Saga tournament and that tournament, then like, well, I want to play some Saga too, right? Like, so that's
Mm-hmm.
trying to scratch that itch. And it's Battle of Lindisfarne. And you can expect a nice, beautiful wooden slash rock cathedral for that
Yeah, there's a
battle.
good opportunity there for a
Yep.
nice looking table, and
That'll be fully set up and left set up for Adepticon, so that it's kind of people come in and they're like, "Ooh, new players, people that don't know what Saga is." So it's going to be the marquee table for when they first walk in.
cool. That's awesome. Yeah, now that I think about it, there always was like a guy who I don't know who he was, but he was always sitting outside the Saga Hall, and he had Saga stuff set up. And I talked to him one time. It didn't seem like he had any particular connection to Eric and John and Paul, or I don't know. He's just like, yeah, I just run these Saga demos. I like to do that. So that's a great idea. So this Saga Legends is during the day. Is the Let's Play, is that at night then, or also during the day, or?
So that'll also be during the day, and it'll just be two new players that want to learn how to play Saga. Tried to do that last year at night. Had two people show up, and I think it went so for the Let's Play events overall. I wanted to target. Okay, let's get two players together. They play each other, and then either myself or a volunteer or another person that wants to step up and help teach some Saga. Right, like this is another good event for brand new players that are maybe a little too timid for a tournament. Right. And so that's what that's supposed to do. Everything will be provided for them to be able.
Cool. That sounds good. I think that's a great idea. Other games have these not like a bring a battle, but there's scenarios where people just jump in. You don't have to prepare anything. You can get the game in. For new players or people who like Saga but don't want to play in a tournament or something. I think that's great. And I think there was a little nugget last year where I think one day one of the tournaments had like 17 people playing in it, and with the demo, there was a demo, I think one of your demos, like the big battles or something, had 8, and then there was like 9 people on the waiting list. So like well, the tournament was 17 people, and then there's also like 17 people who like want to learn how to play. It's like just as many people that need to be served, or they can be involved in some way that isn't just the tournament. So applaud you guys for trying this new approach here. Should be cool. Looks like kind of a similar deal on Friday then.
So we'll have Adam Trenzo's Saga War of Wonders. It'll be Age of Magic and Heroes dependent. Rodge, can you give us some?
I will say currently, Age of Heroes is probably not going to be coming out in 2025, but early next year is what I've now heard from Alex, which if you think about it, we had the Chivalry preview. I believe I had that stuff in September, October last year. And then the book didn't really go on sale until like January or some, I can't remember.
Like early pre-orders from some small shops.
Yeah, there's a pre-order and it was supposed to be December and then it got delayed or something like that. So I think it was shooting for December and then some weird delay kicked it to January. So, based off that approach, all my stuff submitted, it's in progress. I don't have like a final PDF to review or anything like that yet. So I would say January at the earliest. Both Alex and I really wanted out prior to Adepticon there. The Magic event at Adepticon last year was a lot of fun, but you kind of tell it was just a little, the book was stale at this point for being around for 5 or 6 years, just 6 boards. I had been the last fact change to it. So, yes, hopefully we will get Magic and Heroes together. So who did you say was running this one?
Adam Trunzo.
All right, cool. So
then we'll have 2 more Let's Plays, which I actually need volunteers for those. So if you want to volunteer, I'm wanting to play in the Magic this year. I haven't done Magic. So if you want to volunteer for some Let's Play introduction game, get a hold of me, okay? And then I'll be running the Lindisfarne game in the evening.
Is that what those Dark Elves are for, DJ?
Why are you putting secrets out there, Rodge? This isn't fair.
Okay.
I spent way too much money on metal miniatures. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
I'm missing a leg, okay?
Right. We've all been there. Anyways. All right, let's move on to Saturday. What do we got going on then?
So Saturday is the Saga Clash of Ages. Historical doubles.
That's a good name.
Melee.
That's a good name.
Yep. Which age will reign supreme? Which heroes will have their story told? I'll be running that one again. I did doubles last year, and there's a few fun twists. We'll get into some of the later slides.
Okay. Yeah, there'll be some further details on the formats and stuff. But cool. And Battle of Agincourt, is this going to be a late night affair?
Yep. Right now, that one's looking from 7:30 to 10:30. 10:30 is more like a recommendation. We'll see how long it takes. Mm-hmm. But it'll be English versus French, and English and free companies versus French and Britain. Just to help include
a little bit.
Yeah, help include a little more factions.
Everybody's going to sign up for the French side, man.
Which I actually have so I asked the organizers at Adepticon if I could split the sides for the event, and they were like, yes. And I was like, oh, thank you, Lord.
So are they like, you sign up as the French when you like sign up, or oh, cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
That'll help with organizing the 2 sides and then making sure that we're not lopsided too much. And now obviously, like if there's like an odd and an even, then I would just step in wherever I need to.
Cool. It should be fun. Picturing all the archers lined up, kind of be a good photo opportunity there for sure.
The Thomas of Hookton miniature would be a great piece for that one too.
You got to make a giant. All you have to do, you don't need to do anything special, but you just got to have the giant brown mud pit that's uneven terrain across the entire board, and say, come on in. Well, do you have the format and stuff figured out?
No, not yet. Usually the mega battle I wait a little bit on, especially with taking on more this year and designing the scenario for Lindisfarne and the Let's Play. That'll probably be a later rule pack that'll come out. I hope. I say later. It'll probably be the last one I work on because I've done several mega battles, and so it's going to be easier to transition into that as opposed to like the Lindisfarne.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, that should be interesting. What would be cool is, if you could make the French side like double the players or double the points, or make it uneven.
I've thought of that.
The English battle board, its perceived weakness comes from scenario play and objectives, and like if in the Agincourt the French has to cross and the English can kind of sit there, it could turns into a pretty mean battle board. It could be pretty good, and you could see, joked about the uneven terrain, but you could have some kind of hard stop in the middle or something where they have
maybe
to
like the river.
Yeah,
river
just
concept?
like a river, yeah. Something along those lines to
Give me some ideas. I might have
kind
to take
of-
some notes now.
yeah. But anyways, yeah, I'm sure you'll cook up something nice and tasty for everybody.
Oh yeah.
Then Sunday, Rise of the Northmen. Good
That's
names
right.
here. Did you pick out all these names, or did the?
Dan picked his name out, and I used some artificial assistance to drum up some ideas, and then
okay.
let them know, hey, this is what I'm going to call your event. Are you good? And then I got some fire response, some fire emojis. So, all right, here we go. If they want to change it, I'm perfectly fine with that. Like they can change it. So,
sounds good. Okay, so let's jump in. You're going to provide us some details here. So I'm assuming the format will be pretty similar. I'm seeing this time here, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. So we're given some additional time and rounds.
Yep.
So we always stuck to 6 p.m. previously because John said that's when it needed to be done so people could go to other events, because other events start at like 6 or 6:30 or something, but specifically because John was going to other events that started at 6 or 6:30, so that's when he wanted those to end. That was always the reason why they ended earlier, just kind of walking around the halls later and stuff. I'm not so sure that's like a good reason. So I think extending it out to 7, I think that's great.
Yeah, that was, so we actually got a lot of feedback about lunch and like time between. And so we all talked and like, we have to extend this, right? Like, but also like setting up your display board and your army and all this stuff right after you finish your game to then go eat lunch. Like, so every year, right? Personally, it took me forever, and I can be slow at times, granted. Took me forever to get my army set up to where it looked aesthetically pleasing and people would be able to notice some things, and there might be some thematic theme to how I set it up, right? Like that takes a minute. And so we wanted to restructure the timeline so that you only do it once and it's not going to impede on your lunchtime and break time, so that you can go do a thing or two during that period, and then you come back rejuvenated, ready to roll some dice and let the body sit.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds good to me. Also, makes things easier on the TO as well. Also important.
Yep.
So cool. Looks like the slots are 32. I think that looks good. Traditionally, there's been room for 40, I guess. Did you proactively change that to 32? Or did they assign tables? Or
you could call it a swag. Swag is something we do in the army, right? It's a wild ass guess.
Okay.
Sorry for YouTube. You might have to censor me.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
So yeah, that's just a number that like I saw just started to be put with a few of the other guys. And so I was like, yeah, makes sense. If we need to do more, then we can definitely look at that. But then, we may not have enough terrain, which we'll figure that out. Not a big deal.
Yes. It's key there if you're building a bunch of new terrain and stuff. Don't want to overcommit. I think that's good. I think it has exceeded that once or twice, but it's been quite a few years since
my first year. It was wild. Like 36 fewer Vikings.
Yeah. So, okay. bring 7, play 6.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I actually working on my force for Kansas City. I really wish it was the bring 7, play 6 format that they were
I
using
know.
there. So, yeah, cool to see that. No legendaries, no ruses, and we're gonna allow some of those juicy ancient mercs to be involved.
One unit.
Just one.
Yep. And then so Dan calls out like the Acnominiad versions, or is that right? Where they can like get their
there's like the Greek mercenaries built into their.
So like that doesn't count against, but then they can't take anything beyond what they're already they're allowed to take anyways, right? So like there'll be more that'll come out in the rules pack, but I just wanted to hit the highlight on that so people are aware and could start wargaming and figuring out what they wanted to take. And I know we got some list builders out there that love that list building.
They should pick a game other than Saga if that's what they're really into. They might want to look into other games if the list building's what really gets them going. But yeah, a little bit in Saga. Now, I like what I see here on this last line. I don't get it, but I'm into it. Player may want to bring at least 1 point or a warlord that features an animal of some kind.
Yeah. So expect some scenarios that may be centered around an animal unit, right? It's like a mounted on a horse.
Right. Does a horse count, or do we got to get like lion, tigers, and bears?
Oh my!
It's kind of wild, you know.
No, so Dan actually said it's not what is just modeled on the base; it's at part of the equipment for your faction, right? So if they can be mounted on a horse, they can be mounted on a camel, mounted on an elephant. I don't think we have any other mounts yet, which I don't know of any other mounts in history. There might be, and someone could probably correct me.
At Gladiator 2, that guy's riding the rhino in the arena.
Did that really happen?
Well, it was in a movie, so it must be true.
Hey, this is Saga. It can be a little bit fantastical, right?
That's right.
Grandpa said a story, and I don't know if I believe it.
My grandpa said that guy was riding a rhino. So that must be what happened.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So yeah, like some interesting ideas being explored here. The magic stuff looks like we are doing more of the same.
Yes.
TBD on some of the details here. So
yeah, I think some of that depends on heroes and what comes out with that.
So if heroes is out, you can kind of just let it fly. If it isn't out, then it's like, okay, well, how are we gonna make it interesting?
Yeah. So Adam and I, we haven't started with the discussion yet, but what we're wanting to eventually do in the future is how do we do a narrative day where it's not necessarily a tournament, but it's more of like you play a game, you come back an hour later, you play a game, you come back an hour later, you play a game, and and so it builds towards something. And so one of the things he was doing for this is creating a little bit of, you could say, narrative within the tournament around your warlord or a character that will develop as you continue to play the games.
Okay, cool. I like the sound of that. Yeah, the Book of Battles has a little experience system at the end of it, and it kind of specifically mentions like tournaments and stuff like that. So, there's some precedent there. Could be used, could be the basis for something, or there's cool ideas you could do just on your own. So that sounds cool to me.
I think even the Age of the Wolf has some sort of like a character development as well, and so does Lime's campaign, and so he's got a lot of source material to look at for it. And I know he loves Sigmar and fantasy too, so he'll probably pull from that toolkit.
He's a smart man. He's got a good head on his shoulder, so he'll or something. All right, the big one, the doubles here.
Yep.
This is it. The big show. Yep. If you don't come on top here, you're nothing.
Yeah, so 4 points per player on each side. Can't be the same faction. Has to be the same age.
Same age. Yeah.
Yep.
So there's any number of ways the team event could be approached. So this is different. Looks cool. Makes sense. Teammates may not play as the same warband. That one, I think, is mandatory in my book. Old friends, new enemies to be used.
Yep.
There'll be no ties. What is the matching dice and trading? Everybody wants to know. What's going on there? Any plans?
Rule, so no trading, but you can have the same dice.
Okay.
Right. So
I think that's fair.
Be the same warband.
Yeah. I mean, the dice trade thing is really interesting, and you could see an event. It's interesting. You could have like an event, a team event centered around that. You could have like require players to have matching, so everybody's on the same page. But that's always kind of the issue. Some armies, can't or you don't want to use the same dice. So it is kind of an advantage. Like what I see here, bring a single champion and a bard. All right, baby.
I'm a sucker for an extra unit in a game.
Yeah, I think with the doubles too, I think it works. It's going to be a full table for sure.
Part of the same age of is also that this tournament will generate the armies on parade for Saga. So 1 to 2,
right.
Yeah. So we want thematic, right? Like, we the winner is the winner. Yes, right. But the warband, right, that gets, so it's going to be externally judged. I got to work on. I plan on asking the bolt action crew. I have not officially asked, so they may respond to me after this video. That's great. To come judge it.
They'll judge.
Yeah. And that'll be the group that's picked for the armies on parade. But that's not necessarily going to get player's choice warband or best warband, right? So like there's going to be a little differentiation on that one. Just talking with last year, the organizer of the Armies on Parade, they're wanting something that's extremely professional, looks great. And so we're trying to separate that just a little bit. One, we want the player base to have a choice, right? And that was part of our discussion as a group. But at the same time, we have to, if we want to compete in Armies on Parade and potentially be chosen, right, like we have to objectively have a choice for that, right? And so having a third group come in and do the scoring, I think, is the best way to do that. Not that I can't be objective as an army officer. I have to be completely objective in everything, but I want to bring someone else in so there's no perception at all.
Just be careful with those bolt action guys. They might try to finagle you into a reciprocal arrangement where unfortunately they got about like 90 teams that you would have to judge. So I mean that's cool. Sounds interesting. Yeah, I do agree there is kind of a distinction there between what players vote for, their favorites. You are totally justified in your favorites. Frequently the favorite thing kind of comes down to the display board more than anything, not necessarily army on it. So that's kind of the distinction there, where the army's on parade. I mean, obviously those, honestly, a lot of those were kind of more fancy displays with like, armies, but ideally you'd to be both. So interesting stuff.
Yeah, and then the last little weird thing. So I'm not a fan of ties. I don't like ties. I have a tiered method for ties, and none of it deals with being the first or second player. So if you get through 4 layers of qualifier for tying,
like
bravo,
game ties or what?
Yeah,
ties?
No ties. No ties.
I like ties. Put me
win or lose.
In the tie camp. Yeah. I want a third wins, a third losses, and a third ties. I'm putting
wins.
It out there.
Don't lie. Don't lie.
Well, not for me personally, but for any event I run. more ties. Everybody loves a tie. Come on. That's a topic for another. Have you back on to defend the win-loss. So watch the Green Bay and Dallas game. That must have rubbed you raw. Football fan?
Well, I do love football. I just haven't watched it all the time lately.
Okay. Yeah, there was a
I would
tie
say, go ahead.
in the NFL this year. People weren't happy about it, but okay.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, moving on to Sunday, Rise of the Northmen.
Yeah, Invasions and Vikings.
So
it's a classic.
Steven is working on it here. Looks like similar format. This one will get done a little earlier though. Very very smart move. Thank you, Steven. I don't know whose idea that was to. That would have
universal agreement.
Pretty
it was
brutal.
Universal. Yeah, we had talked about that at our last meeting, and we were like, yeah, we can't hold people that late. Like, so there might be like a shorter games, and not necessarily Speed Saga, but like you need to be on it, or maybe like. But Steven's aware of it.
That's a good idea.
And he wants to make sure that we're not keeping people late. So like, we got to consider that.
Yeah, there's quite a few. I think Scott was running it. There's quite a few drops. Like in the last round. So 2 years running now. Completely terrible weather on the Sunday. Everybody's leaving, so a lot of folks trying to get out of there. Hopefully that won't happen again. But yeah, that's kind of cool. Yeah, so Vikings Invasions. We've done it a million times. We don't need as long for those rounds compared to some of the other ones. So that makes total sense. Right. Agen.
Yeah.
Okay, you got a little more info here on Agincourt.
Yep. Kind of already hit it. The only thing, so right now we're looking at 8 versus 8. And you gave me additional ideas now of potentially the French have slightly more than the English, but at the same time, do I give a buff to the English and the free company? We shall see.
Yeah, take a look, figure it out. Could be players, could be points, could be whatever. Yeah, just a couple ideas to noodle on, because that is, if you think about Agincourt, that is kind of part of the legend, and just being
there may not be a lot of terrain in between the woods.
Yeah.
Just kind of letting, like, so for those that haven't played a mega battle before, I have tried to have the terrain map be
so this
somewhat
will be
close to the actual terrain.
Done 2 mega battles already, so you've got probably a better idea than anyone alive how to run a mega battle. So that's cool. Yeah.
I would say Saga Storm does a pretty good job too.
That's true. Yeah, Scott did a great job this year. Check out the Patreon video if you want to learn more about that. You can get some cannons in there. That's all we can learn from that one. Is people like shooting cannons. So.
Oh yeah.
Right. Lindis Baron. Right.
Lindisfarne. That's right.
Jumped out here. Looks like you got the whole description ready to go.
Yep, this will be the so right now we have 2 events scheduled. If people want to volunteer, then I wouldn't have a problem with adding more events. And then we can get, so this is meant to be somewhat new player friendly. Everything is provided, or just not, like if someone just is not a competitive player like this gets your Saga itch scratched, right? And so the idea that I'm having is it's not going to be on necessarily a 2 regulation Saga mat, but it's going to be centered around the Abbey of Lindisfarne and the initial Viking raid of the island of Lindisfarne. And if you've read anything about it, it wasn't just an abbey, right? Like there was a small little village, and there's it makes sense to have like the Anglo-Saxons, Anglo-Dane, or just Anglo-Saxons responding, right, to what's happening. And it's just meant to be some fun Saga so that people can just, bring a beer, have some chips, and, we can roll some.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Yeah. Good choices for the battles. 2 pretty iconic ones.
Yep. The other battle was because it was in the survey, and it was Battle of Hastings.
Yeah, that would have been a good one as well.
Or no, that was the Mega Battle number 2. The other Saga Legends, I had to go look back. But it was close. And then Lindisfarne just made sense with the models that since I'm providing them, made sense with the models I have.
Yeah.
And so then just makes it easy.
Sounds good. All right. And then rounding it out, it's like the Let's Play Saga introduction. And I think the last one and this one said additional organizers needed. So you're kind of looking for volunteers and stuff to help fill these out. Is that right?
Yeah. So one of the things that I had talked with the Adepticon organizers is build it and they will come. So one of the things that we want to do is if you want to help be a part of the Adepticon experience in Saga, please let me know. There are some benefits to it. Nothing crazy by any means, but there's a little bit of benefit to it. I think when I ran the Mega Battle, I had like a small credit.
Yeah, they'll shunt over some Adepticon credit, so you get a discount on a badge. It might even, depending on what you do and you can cover your badge and event. Never covers everything, even when you're a TO juggling a bunch of things. But yeah, they'll send you a little kickback here, so a little thank you that way. But yeah, so it's like tournament ringer, important backup TOs, important to have prize support, decoration support. What's decoration support?
So if you got like Britt, Stephen told me that Britt's planning on bringing some of his armor and gear. Same thing with Stephen Holdeman, and maybe a few others from the Kansas City crew. So, like, if you have decoration that you are willing to bring with you, that would be greatly appreciated. Because that was another thing in the first survey about like a lot of feedback. Like, we need to make this just pop, right? And so having a marketing degree and being shamelessly in tune with how sales and promotion and placement and all that works, right? It's like, okay, well, we need this. We need to ask people for help, so then we can start to make it look more not big, but flashy,
spicier,
right?
yeah, little zhuzh. Ooh, cool. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. A lot of people can help out in a little way. Should makes it many hands make light work. I believe is the saying, or something like that. So cool. Yeah. So they can reach out to you on Discord, email. It's up on the screen right here. But Elderman Andrews, thanks for coming on today and spilling the beans here. So this was pretty much news to me. I saw the PowerPoint about 7 minutes before we started and everything loaded up. So well, awesome. Thank you for everything you've done so far. I know you've already put in a ton of work, which will never be compensated for, or you just, or no one will know, and you'll be, I've been there, so I'm just saying, I know what you're going through, and much appreciated. Thanks to Dan, Adam, Steven, those guys for agreeing to support as well. This wouldn't be happening without them. So definitely, folks, consider reaching out and offering your support. Even, if you're not even going to Adepticon, you could still send some prizes or goodies, extra terrain, extra stuff that you're not using. We gave away a lot of 3D printed stuff last year, like, makes it pretty economical to give that stuff away, if it doesn't cost you too much. So we gave out like a whole army of stuff. Most of the events, like everybody walked away with something. So it'd be cool if we could make that happen again. But any closing thoughts or remarks to add to that?
I think I'm just excited for what this Adepticon, what it could be, and then with the future of it, right? We've already talked about next year, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yep, I blame the
Oh
I blame
boy.
the army about how I plan things, right? And so, like, yeah, we want to keep improving. Stephen saying he's in the same mentality, right?
Yeah.
And
Well,
growing it and getting more people, and so yeah, we're all excited. And Adepticon is just it really is one of the marquee events. I would say almost around the world, and people ask in the Saga community like, "What happened at Adepticon? Where's it at? Where's the pictures? We want to see it." Right? So
mhm.
like being a part of that is just great, and I look forward to seeing all of the amazing warlords come in to roll their dice and claim the top prize, or just have right make
Yeah,
friends.
absolutely. That's what it's about. Having fun, making friends, playing good games.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, that is going to be it for this one. Well, check you later, folks. Have a good one. Bye bye.
Thanks, Rodge.
Saga! If you'd like to see more Saga content, consider joining the Heathen Army over on Patreon or popping on down to the Saga Thursday Discord server. Links below. Thanks, guys.